Okay, this is exercise 4-10. We're learning how to create a scope box. Scope boxes are used to control the visibility of grid lines and levels in views. First step, activate the level 1 floor plan. Then we're going to activate the architecture ribbon and select the grid tool from the datum panel. We're going to set the offset to 2 feet. And we're going to use the pick lines tool in the draw panel. We're going to place 3 grid lines using the exterior side of the walls to offset. So up here, we're going to come over to the exterior side of the wall, and then actually the question is, where is the exterior side of the wall? Well, it's right here. So we're going to offset that. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, and 3. Oh, make sure you have the right thing. We are going to hit the modify button, and we're just going to adjust these grid lines a little bit because they're difficult to read and can't see them quite right. We're going to pull those grids out. We're going to check the box up here. We're going to pull this grid line out a little bit. Okay, once we have our grid situated, we are going to relabel the grids so that this one is called A. It's capital A. This one is B. This one is 1, and that one's 2, just how we have it. Okay, or excuse me, that one's 1. It actually looks like they want the grid on both sides there as well. Just going to do what they want. So now we're going to select the measure tool from the quick access toolbar. So that's the quick access toolbar up here. Here's the measure tool. And we want to measure one side of the yard area. So we're going to click, I imagine, from the end point all the way over to the end point down here. And I've got a measurement of 176 with some change, and I'm not sure how critical that step is at this point. So let's keep going and find out. So our next step is to go back to the architecture tab, select grid. We're going to change the offset to 180 feet. And we're going to use the pick lines tool. And we want to try to pick the edge of the wall and offset it 180 feet. Now, the thing that's happening is I'm not seeing the line show up. Oh, there it is. You may have to zoom out. See, it's trying to put it 180 feet that way, but I want it to go 180 feet the other way. So what I'm going to have to do is kind of keep zooming out, and there we go, and then touching around the wall until I get it, there we go, to show up down here, those blue lines. I don't know if you guys caught that. You may need to pause the video to see. And then I'm just, again, real quick, I just want to fix this because it doesn't look real nice and everything's on top of each other. We just want to pull those out a little bit, and we want to relabel this grid line 2 and say OK. And it looks like I can also pull these out just a touch as well. Okay, so now we are going to activate the view ribbon, and we want to select the scope box tool from the create panel. Create panel. I'm going to highlight over. Yep, that's the scope box tool. We're going to hit that button. It says to place the scope box. And then use the rotate icon on the corner to rotate the scope box. So I will place a scope box, I will rotate it, and then I'm just going to kind of drag it around here. And I'm going to use the blue grips to control the size. Okay, so try to be a little gentle, I guess, here, because it's not quite rotating where I want it to go. Let's see. If that happens, let's see if we can't do this to make it easier for ourselves. I'm going to hit undo, and I'm going to turn this, I'm going to rotate it so it looks like it's at about, oh, wrong way, about 45, doesn't it? Nope, maybe not. 39. Okay, there we go. Now I can pull this over here, and I can use the blue grips to extend the scope box. And it looks like we're putting the scope box right around this portion of our building. Then we're going to select the grid line labeled B, okay? And it says in the Properties pane, select the scope box and select scope box 1 and hit apply. And then we're going to repeat this for the other grid lines. So at A, we're going to select A, we're going to select scope box 1, hit apply. Here we've got scope box 1, hit apply. And then down here, scope box number 1, and then hit apply. Okay. Now we're going to select the scope box. We're going to select Edit next to the Views Visible in the Properties pane. And we are going to set the level 2 floor plan override as invisible. So floor plan level 2 override is going to be invisible. And we're going to say OK. Now we're going to select the scope box, and we're going to right click and say Hide in View, and that will be Elements. And now the scope box is no longer visible in that view. We're going to activate level 2. The grid line and scope box are not visible in this level. Let's check level 3. But now they're visible in level 3 because we said that they should be invisible in level 2. So that's why we can't see it in level 2 and we can see it in level 3. Alright, so that just allows us to hide that scope box quickly.